everyone, and welcome to the Students' Union Leadership Race debate. For the first time being hosted entirely by Rebel. If you'd like to get involved throughout the night, you can send in questions via Facebook, or you can send them in via Twitter at Rebel Essex. Also, we'll be having audience questions for the evening. Looks like it's a bit dark on the screen, but there are an audience behind me here. I promise it's not just me and the candidates. So for the first round of debates, we'll be speaking to the people running for VP Services and Communications. The format will be opening statement from each candidate. There'll be questions about the statement. There'll be a chance for the candidates to talk amongst themselves and ask questions to each other. Candidates will be given a prepared question, and there'll be questions further on that. So I guess without further ado, we will get started with the debates. So shall we start with Tanki? Would you like to give an opening statement?
Yeah, of course. Do I have a minute?
You've got a minute.
Hello everyone, my name is Tanki and I'm running for VP Services and Communication. So basically my manifesto is acts on 3 points. The first one is improve and innovate our venues and communication. The second one is be an SU feel. And the third one is to bring new services and means of communication. So I've worked now for 2 years for the SU. I've been president of society and I've been vice president of another society. And I believe that I have the knowledge and the qualities to bring new stuff to the debate and make sure that our services and our communication are better than ever. And I believe that I have ideas that will improve the livelihood of student here and feasible and implementable. Thank you.
There we go. Oh, you can applaud, audience. All in good spirit, isn't it? Okay, so let's get started on the questions about your opening statement. So you say that you want to improve the lives of student services. You have 2 minutes to tell me exactly how you're going to do that.
So I believe that our services and our communication are good, but I have ways to improve and innovate. But as well, there's new ways that we can tackle issues. And so, for example, to improve and innovate, I want to focus on a quality nightclub with quality acts to make sure that students come back to our venues, make sure that we have more income from students, and make sure that we can reinvest every penny that students spend back in our services. So as well, I want to work on the promotion of our events. I want to improve certain services, for example, as SULET, that has to be expanded. I want to introduce new services, for example, a system called Rate Your Landlord, where you'll be able to rate your landlord so that people moving in will be able to know what was your experience. I want to rebrand the borough in a new catering outlet, a bit like Subway, where you'll have personalised salads and sandwiches with a gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian and halal option. As well, I want to make sure that everyone feel welcome in our SU. So I want to work more with international communities and certain communities such as the disabled community to make sure that our facilities, our services and the way we communicate works for everyone. I want to make sure that every campus, so Southend, Loughton and Colchester works as one uni. So I want to make sure that Southend and Loughton can have special buses for night out, discounted tickets for Sub-Zero, and special buses for them to attend all student meetings, because in a way it's their union as well and they deserve to have their voices heard. Furthermore, I want to improve small things that I will think have a massive impact for students. For example, a microwave in the student centre, an open mic in base, more live band on campus because there's been a high demand but it hasn't been challenged. Offer discounts in venues, for example, for society in the week, fed tickets for sports team. And just as well tackle a main issue that was this year, a selling platform for both tickets and as well university books.
And that's your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, you'll be fielding questions from the other candidates about your manifesto and about the things you've said so far. So, do we have any questions? Oh, come on. Criticise each other, it's allowed. It's a debate. Nothing?
I do have one question.
Go for it.
And that would be, you are talking about how to collaborate with Southend, how to collaborate with the less represented people in the university, most notably mature and postgraduate students. and I was curious whether you have actually taken any step towards doing that,
Do you mean for mature and postgraduate student?
and for Southend as well.
So I have a pledge in my manifesto, which is that I want discount in certain venues. I want allocated time, and I want to work more with mature and postgraduate students to make sure that they feel more welcome. Because, for example, postgraduate and mature students might be a bit older, and they might not like the atmosphere in Top Bar or in the SU Bar. So I think that one of the reasons why many mature and postgraduate students say that they don't feel welcome in this SU is because they don't have enough opportunity. This is why I really want to make sure that there's time for them in their SU as well. And then for different communities as well, or for Southend and Loughton? Well, as I said, for Southend and Loughton, just make sure that they're able to come to Colchester more. Make sure that they're able to come a night out with discounted tickets. And as well, I think that the democracy here in Essex is mainly in Colchester, and I think that people in Southend and Loughton should have their voice heard, and this is why they should be welcome with special buses to all student meetings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
The follow-up question to that would be...
Unless Bethany has a question. No? Okay, Robert,
the
go ahead.
follow-up question to that would be actually whether you have actually spoken with Ernest, who is also recandidating, or with Nicola Wallace, who's the mature students officer, who is also recandidating, whether you have actually taken any practical step towards solving an issue, or whether you have taken a step towards talking and receiving feedback from those groups you so much want to help in your manifesto.
I have met many mature students, friends, so yes, I have talked with them. I've talked with parents as well that have a real issue here on campus because they have to make their parenthood work with their students. I've talked as well with students from Southend and Loughton, and it's true that many students from other campuses feel a bit left out because they see that the majority of students come here to Colchester, but the majority of the SU focus here on Colchester, and that it's not normal, and that we should focus as a union on those communities.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll now move on to the prepared question. The prepared question has been given to each candidate beforehand. So again, this one is to you, Tanki. So your prepared question is, how are you going to ensure better quality but lower cost services on campus?
So I think the key is investment in all our venues to increase income so we can lower costs. So as I said before, I want to work on a Sub-Zero, a small, feasible, financially rebranding of Sub-Zero, work on the rebranding of the borough, but as well expand certain services so we can improve them. The idea is that every penny that students spend should be invested back in the venues and the services and the communication. If we have more income, then we'll be more able to have a discussion as an SU to try and lower the cost around. As well, I think that certain venues should be and outlets should be used to their full potential, such as bass with live bands, and as well in general make sure that we bring good acts in Sub-Zero that attract students, that reply to their demand, and just make sure that as an SU we offer a service and make sure that students like that service and come to us to get it. Finally, I have this idea which is more transparency on the prices, increase the prices. So many students have seen prices increase in our venues. Make sure that we are transparent with that so there's more pressure on us as a SU to tackle this issue and try to lower the cost.
Okay, brilliant. So now we'll have some questions from myself and from the other candidates about your answer. So to sum up, essentially what you're saying is that you'll improve the quality of the services, which will drive in more students, which will raise revenue and therefore lower prices. So my question to you is, which comes first? Is it the higher costs to pay for the better services, which will then lead to the lower prices eventually, or how are you going to find that balance?
This is a project, of course, lowering the costs that will be on the long run. So I think the key, as I said, is investment. Investing our venues, investing in our services, and investing our communication to make sure that we are the best. If we do that, then we'll be able to have more income, as I said, and then later on be able to work as an SU to lower the costs. We cannot today lower the cost if a venue such as Base, for example, certain events are half filled. We cannot, as an SU, lower the cost if in Sub-Zero on the first day we have half a venue and only 100 students. We cannot, as an SU, lower the cost if, for example, I work for the SU, and once I was asked one day before an event to promote that event. That shouldn't happen. What should happen is that students should know what is coming in their venues, and I'll work on that with a VP Services and Communication newsletter that'll be sent once a month with all the events, and make sure that we create forums where every music society is invited, and as well representative of students, to make sure that the acts that we put in Sub-Zero are the one that students want. Because we can put as much acts as we want, promote them as much as we want. If we don't have people in our venues, then we don't have income. If we don't have income, then we cannot invest for our students.
So you're talking a lot about venues though, but what about the students who don't often drink and don't go out in the nightclub? What kind of stuff are they going to do? How are you going to benefit them?
Well, for students that don't use our venues as much and our services, there's still students that will come, for example, to the Extra store. There'll still be students that come to the Borough, because we'll be offering food, we'll be offering a catering outlet. So it comes back to that point, investing in every one of our services. So venues, of course, where there's the majority of our students, but as well other services such as food. So for example, if someone doesn't go out, but is still, for example, looking for vegan, vegetarian, halal or gluten-free option for food, he'll be able to go to the Borough and get that.
Okay, well, it's all well and good, you know, bringing in more people. But what if, say, we get more revenue into the SU through our venues, through our services, but what if those people in charge of the services, some permanent staff members, see an opportunity to still raise the prices and therefore bring in even more money? How are we going to stop that from happening?
As I said in my manifesto, if I'm elected, I'll be a face of the SU. I'll be the face of the services and the communication. What I want is student voice to be heard. So I want to be transparent completely about what we do. As a member, I'll be able, with price increase transparency, to communicate to our members the price increase. And as well, we as an SU work for our students. We're not a business, we're a charity. We're not here to make money. We're here to make sure that the services and the communication we provide have quality. Hence, if people, for example, manager and the bar, still refuse to lower the cost and want to increase the cost again, then I'll come clean towards the students, make sure that they know of the situation, and as well make sure that students put across again that point, which is we're not a business, we're a charity, we're here for students.
Did you have a question?
Oh, no, I only have comments.
Oh, okay. You're welcome to make them. As long as they're not libelous, then...
All right. Oh, no, I just thought it was a bit funny how he considers himself already the face of the of VP Communications and Services, and I think it's a rather narcissistic thing to say, but he's more than welcome to do so.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't get that impression, but I don't know about any other audience members. I mean, but I don't think you answered my question fully there. Like, the question was, what will you do? If you're elected VP Services and Comms, what will you do? If managers are insisting on a price hike in order to bring in more revenue, despite the fact that we're making savings in some places, what will you do? It's all well and good to say that you'll be the face of the SU, the face of students, you'll represent students. What will you actually do?
Well, as I said, I'll try to tackle, to the best of my abilities, the problem. And as I said before, we are not a business, we're a charity. There's 14,000 students and we're liable to 14,000 students.
But we have to stay afloat, we have to be stable. The SU has to have a rainy day fund.
I know, but in your question you said, what if we have more income, hence managers want to keep the price as they are or increase them. You said in the case where we have more income. Today the SU needs to have a saved amount of money on the side to make sure that if one day we don't have much money left, we will not be bankrupt.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's all we've got time for now. We're going to move on to the next candidate, which is Bethany. Hello. So, have you got an opening statement for us?
Yep. Hi, I'm Bethany. I'm a fourth year criminology student. I'm also Korfball's social sec, and I work with the marketing department as a student designer. So I feel I have the knowledge into how the Students' Union works as a student, as well as an employee behind the scenes. I have three main aims. If you read my manifesto, you'll see that I wish for easier, more accessible services, safe and more enjoyable nightlife, and student support just to get your voice heard. There are 13,500 students and just not enough services to cater for this volume. Is that okay?
Oh, was that it? Oh God, I was expecting more.
I'm
I
fast,
took
man.
a drink of water. I thought that'd be it. Okie doke. Right. Okay. So, is there any questions from the other candidates?
I just assumed Robert had one.
I think we're all assuming that Rob has a question. Okie doke. So one of my questions is, how will you improve nightlife for students?
I've been here for 4 years, so I've seen loads of issues that need to be implemented that haven't been implemented since 2013, since I've been here. One of them is definitely a refund or exchange system for tickets. Whether that means put it on the system just to be credited as credit to put towards another event, or whether it's just full-on refund. UEA have this system in place, so I don't understand why Essex can't, because, you know, it's Essex.
Something wrong with Essex?
Everything's great with Essex, that's what I'm saying. We're head-to-head with UEA. If they can have it, we can.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Also, ability to purchase tickets on the door with card, not just cash. Not everyone carries cash around with them. Like, if you spontaneously want to go to the club, oh, I've got a £5 in my pocket. It's not very realistic, I imagine, for a lot of students. Oh, I've been in a situation where I've only had my card, and I think you should implement the system to be able to do that, and that makes it easier as well, and more enjoyable, because people will be able to go out like at last minute. So yeah.
Anything, Robert?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't enjoy talking, but I don't enjoy talking that much.
Fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Another question then, I suppose, is one of the things you said in your opening statement is that at the moment the services can't cope with the capacity of students that we have. What is it that makes you think that, and in what way would you change that?
Well, there are 13,500 students, and you think the capacity Sub-Zero has, if I'm going to focus on, let's just say nightlife now, I think it's like 800 or something like that.
1,200.
Okay, 1,200. It's just, if a load of people want to go out, it's not going to cater for the volume of people, because there's sold out events, and sometimes sold out events are just too packed. So maybe a bigger space for that.
So what you're suggesting is extending Sub-Zero?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. Have you thought about the costs of that?
Well, it's all about big ideas, isn't it? And then.
Well, I mean, not really. Like, they're electing you to be in a position where you'll handle a budget. So, is this something that you've
brutal,
thought
isn't it?
about? It is brutal.
Yeah,
It's important.
Not to the fullest extent, I guess not, no. But, yeah.
But it's something you have an idea for.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And
It's
what
always
about?
good to have big ideas.
It is. You're right. As long as they are achievable and not
Yeah,
empty
well,
promises.
that's what I'll intend to do. isn't
Good.
it?
And what about students who don't really enjoy the nightlife, who prefer not to drink, who prefer to have non-alcoholic social spaces?
I feel like it's very important to have non-alcoholic venue I saw was posted on the Freshers page recently. I think that's a brilliant idea to implement. And then you've got, you want to do, I was thinking of student support groups, so run for students, by students, just to, so they can come together, whether it's about, I don't know, mental or physical health, whether it's about, if you're an undergraduate student, if you've got issues with revision or exam, or just somewhere for people to go, not necessarily to talk about it, but just to like meet people with the same issues. So a bigger platform to meet people not drunk or in an environment where you get drunk.
Wouldn't you say a support group or something like that is more for VP welfare, though?
Something that I would work with VP well for sure.
Fair enough.
Because I feel like officers, you know, combine their ideas to get an idea.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions from the candidates? No?
I do
Nothing?
have a comment.
Go on, Robert.
Go on, Robert. Hit us with
I'm
it.
excited.
I actually think it's a very, very good idea, even though it's
Okay.
not particularly fully into VP communications and services. I too have used the support from the on-campus support, and I found it very useful. And I think it's something that should be worked on to help as many people as it can.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so we'll now move on to the prepared question, which again to you is, how are you going to ensure better quality but lower cost services on campus?
I think if you always got what you paid for, then cheap premium would obviously be an oxymoron in itself, really. However, you could argue quality is subjective. I feel like simply listening to the wants and needs of students and implementing them in a cost-effective way would level out quality, enjoyability and the cost itself, whilst giving students what they ask for. I'd propose like a bigger platform for student ideas and further deals throughout our venues, whether it's food deals, buying bulk, like for example Walker's crisps or bulk drinks or whatever. I think that would help in regards to increasing quality as well as decreasing cost.
Any questions from the other candidates? You're both very, very quiet. You're allowed to criticise each other.
Yeah, but please don't.
I think everybody here, at least the ones candidating for VP Communications and Services, try as much as possible to have a fair fight and more productive than and constructive rather than destructive and criticizing, because it's easy to criticize ideas. It's harder to make them work. It's harder to make them in such a way that they can be actually implemented.
I feel like we're all here, whoever gets elected is going to do a good job, so you've got to raise up your other candidates instead of knock them down.
No, of course.
As well as making yourself look the best.
No, of course. Yeah,
You know.
of course.
What they said.
Yeah. I mean, that is quite funny coming from someone who just made a very
Narcissistic.
Oh, well,
rough comment towards another candidate. But, you know, we've got to raise each other up, don't we, Robert? You know?
It's building character, that's what
Of course it is. Of course it is. Okay. Okay, so I think we'll move on to Robert now then, shall we? Would you like to give us a 1-minute opening statement then, please?
Well, I mean, I could do that. You could also read my manifesto. I mean, there's not going to be much difference between what I say here and what I say on my manifesto. So I'd rather talk about actually myself rather than, you know, what I already say in the manifesto. All right, I know that might sound a bit narcissistic. The thing is, I do like de-stressing the situation. Everybody here, I think, came to some extent with some stress. I was very stressed. I know that my colleague here, Bethany, was also very stressed. I'm not sure about... thank you. All right, sorry. I guess, what can I say? I love food. I love animals. I'm a geek. I find it very funny that our chair doesn't actually have a chair. I'm interested in politics and economics. I'm actually a very hardworking man. And whenever I need to work, I work. But I also like just enjoying myself.
And
from
that's
time
your
to time.
time. Thank
very
you,
much.
Robert. Thank you. I don't really know where to start with you, mate.
It's funny, isn't it? You can start with the manifesto, because I'm guessing you probably will have an easier time putting questions on that rather on my personal life.
Can I comment?
Yeah, go for it.
So what would you actually do as VP Service and Communications? Because we're here to know that.
Thank you very
Just-
much. That's a very
I'm
good
not being, I
question.
just want to know.
No, really. And I like the subway. So, firstly, I will continue the SU ideas that have already started to be implemented, because I think it's important not only to come with new ideas, but help implement the ones that are already existing. Most notably, there has been this idea of making drinking fountains on campus. There have already been made five, actually, drinking fountains. Unfortunately, they're not as popular as you might believe. And I actually want to continue this idea and make 2 more drinking fountains, at least, on Square 3 and Square 4. Squares which are very used, and I know that very many people like that idea. Another idea that I have is improving the communications. Most notably, in regards to that, I want to make a platform, and I actually have the idea on how to implement it. It would be making a volunteering role called student representatives, which, as the name sounds, it is inspired from the course representatives, but their duties would be to facilitate discussion between students, problems related to the university and students' union, most notably services, communications, retails, venues, and the VP Communications and Services. And then the meetings would find place every month. In that platform, we would have the chance to actually listen to these issues that are recent and be able to implement something working together, not only with the managers, but also with the students. It will also show some more transparency, because the students would all actually see, oh, well, I want to be involved. I can go there, I can go at the meeting, I can see whether there is something done in regards to the issues that I bring up. Lastly, I think the most important thing is about retails and venues, which have been brought up already by my fellow candidates. I personally don't think there's necessarily something that needs to be done with Sub-Zero. I think it's one of the more successful venues. But I do believe we should make a few changes. For example, the Extra Store. Right now, the Extra Store is the newest retail. It's a very useful retail. It's very nice inside, but people don't use it. Why? Because the store is just so useful. People have gotten really used to the store, and at the same time, the name, the Extra Store, doesn't really help it either. So I think maybe a renaming of it, maybe a bit of a rebranding going on, a few more drastical changes in regards to products would help a lot to balance out between the utility of the Extra Store and the store. Not only that, but I also had a few ideas for the borough. Not a sandwich place. I was thinking maybe like a smoothie place. But of course, the idea is up to debate, and we should look together for which option would be most suitable. And lastly, I think bass is very important to mention. Because I personally, I like bass, but I'm a gamer. So I went there, I saw, oh my god, they have consoles, they have pool. I thought, oh, this is very enjoyable, can have a drink, and can just, not necessarily dance, but chat and have a nice and pleasant environment. And I was a bit displeased to find out that it doesn't make profits. And because of that, I will be working closely together with VP Activities, which works very closely together with societies and sports clubs to maybe help push a few events in base and change it up to be different from Sub-Zero, because even though they're clubs, they have very different people coming at them. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Tanky?
Oh, sorry.
Bethany, do you have any more
I was
questions?
ready, sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it.
What
Go
would you
for it.
what would you rename the extra school?
Well, originally, I know that there was a Facebook poll that was not respected by the managers that chose a name for the Extra Store. Because I don't find myself to be particularly imaginative, and I rather like implementing things that are easy to implement and that help people, I would probably either make a contest to let the people from the university choose the name, or make, as I said, a Facebook poll, or maybe have the student representatives come with idea. Anyways, it's not a decision that I will make alone. It's one of those decisions that I want to work together with the students to take.
So to sum up, you want to change the name of the store. You want to carry on with projects that other people have already started.
Do you want me to talk more on that?
Well, no, it's just more like, it seems like there's a lot of broad statements here that don't really have much to them, that's all.
Well, I mean, if you want, I can talk to you about the
I
vegetarian
mean,
option.
we don't have a lot of time.
Well,
like you
I
say,
mean, if you're going to go ahead and make statements that
Well, you
attack my candidacy.
you just spoke for 4 minutes and didn't really say anything. That's why.
Oh, that's a very biased statement.
It's not
I
really
feel-
a biased statement.
I feel like you're being very biased here, honestly.
You think I'm being biased towards
Yes,
you?
yes.
Do you guys feel that way? Do you feel I've given you an easier ride than I'm giving Robert right now?
Not really.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I mean, after all, the students will decide for it.
Yep. And I guess the last question then is, what do you think makes you? What can you bring to the role? What experience can you bring to the role? So I'm right in understanding you're a first year.
Yes, I'm a first-year political economics student.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, I had actually another question, which would have been better quality, but I can respond to this as well because I'm very good at improvisation. You see,
Wait, sorry, I don't understand. Well, you just right,
I
really
have
confused.
received through email another question. Doesn't matter.
For yourself.
For myself.
You were going to
general,
ask yourself a question.
No, the general question that was asked to all candidates.
Oh, okay.
But in regards to my experience, I am a course representative for the Department of Government.
Mm-hmm.
I am a student ambassador for the University of Essex. I am an events officer for the Societies Guild. I am also a publicity officer for the Public Speaking Society, and I am a communication officer for the V-Team allotment project. Besides that, I'm also applying for RA. I'm also applying to work in a retail, and I'm also trying to work part-time.
Cool. And yeah, thank you.
So if I get that right, you are really close to all the activity side of the university and close to university. So technically speaking, what is your actually experience working for any venue or services and communication of the university, and actually knowing what students want and what students want, but as well what venues or services and what communication we need to improve?
Well, on communication, as you might have heard from all my roles, all of those have very close ties with communication. It's one of those, all of my roles are roles which I have to interact with people, and that is what I like to do. So mostly my focus will be on the communication side. And then again, on the services side, I do have the experience of studying political economics. Because of that, I know how to run economics, microeconomics. So I wouldn't have too much of a problem in regards to that. Just following.
After 4 months, you're an expert of microeconomics.
Well, I mean, it's definitely better than a 3-year-old law student. What does he know about economics? We're talking about experience here.
But what do you know about law?
Well, I don't know about law, but
Exactly. Go both
but
ways, can't
but
it?
this is not about.
But also
not
the
about
point
law.
stands at you. What makes you think that after 4 months on the campus, you feel like you can know what students need in services and communication?
Because I actually talk with them. Unlike my other candidates here, I went 6 hours on the squares, and I campaigned and I asked people, what do you want? You know, except for just telling them my ideas. If you would see, there was a lot of positive feedback on the drinking fountains on the squares, even though it's one of those ideas that the SU has already been working on.
And do you think, Tanki, have you been doing anything like that then, or have you just plucked up these projects out of?
I've just
anywhere,
worked for 2
basically?
years. 1 year for Rebel, and 1 year I've worked for all this year in Sub-Zero, and I ran last year as well. So I spent 1 week, one entire week speaking to students last year for 6 hours a day as well. So.
Okay, so we're going to quickly take any questions that the audience may have. Any questions from the audience? Don't feel obliged. Anything? Oh, come on, anything? Not even one from the current VP Services and Comms?
How's everyone feeling?
Take it, I'm not holding it for you.
I haven't got a question.
Oh, come on.
Have you got any comments like, on anyone? 'Cause you
No, I don't know if it's fair for sort of me to comment because, as I say, I'm in the role. I think I will say there is a sort of a tendency at the moment for everyone to kind of be talking about each other a bit, but that's not the nature of the way it was. I think last year when I ran, especially, and sort of Tanky can vouch for this, I'll just say it's because he ran as well. It was a very good-natured sort of debate. It was sort of, we all got on, we even like campaign, we just, whatever, we liked each other, I suppose. But that's what it should be about. It should be about encouraging each other as well as sort of, you want to win, you want to big yourself up, but don't sort of start attacking one another. That's all I'd say. You've all got great ideas, every single one of you, and to make it this far, it's great. Any sort of help you need, come to me for it, but that would be my comment. It would be sort of, be relaxed, everyone's stressed, but you've all got good points, okay? There's no one I'm sitting there going, oh God, like, you're all good, so
Yeah.
hopefully that'll put everything at ease. So.
I'd just like to say before you speak, if anyone at home has any questions that they'd like to submit in, you can just comment on the Facebook Live feed and we'll read them out. Yep.
Hey guys, you two mentioned about bringing more vegetarian food and vegan food. I don't know if it's in your plans, but basically, I'm a vegetarian, ex-vegan, and I am aware that this food is more expensive. Do you know how you're gonna kind of like balance it out? Because it is more expensive, it's a fact.
I believe actually Robert said about vegetarian food, if he wants to answer the question.
Yes, personally, I think we should bring some of the vegetarian food that caters to everybody. For me personally, that's hummus, because I know I like it, and I'm pretty sure that other non-vegetarians like it too. Not only that, but maybe a few more salads. that could also work.
Anything from the others?
If I get it right, the question was, how are we going to make the price level? Okay.
Salads already exist, by the way, and we're so tired of them.
No more salads, basically. A bit more variation. More variation?
So, as I said before, my idea for rebranding the borough is a Subway type outlet. So there'll be lots of ingredients, and you'll be able to make a personalised sandwich or salad out of those ingredients, and there'll be vegetarian option. Then, I don't have the rule right now, and I would be lying if I tell you I could tell you right now what would be the price. So if I'm elected, then I'll start from July onwards, looking into what would be the price of every ingredient and what would be the right balance into maybe bringing less fancy ingredients and maybe more basic salad or tomatoes and all those things that are less expensive for the start. And if it works well and we have incomes, then reinvest that money into buying more expensive products.
Okie doke. And that's all we've got time for today for the VP Services and Communications debate. So if you'd like to give the candidates a round of applause, please. Thank you very much. And we'll be back shortly with the next round of debates for the next role.